Greetings, my fellow citizens. I'm glad to see you guys once again. It's exactly what it looks like. It's another VSeeFace tutorial. And you might be wondering, Cadet the Valle, why the freaking frick are you making another tutorial when you said you're not gonna make a tutorial? Well, I have a couple reasons. Number one, I am an absolute fangirl of VSeeFace. Number two, a couple of people asked me about the leap motion via Discord and Twitter too. So we're gonna be going over that. And another reason is because VSeeFace came out with a heck ton of updates since my video, and I just couldn't help but to go over those new features because they're amazing. But yeah, let's get started on the leap motion, and I will gladly go over the new settings and also the future of VSeeFace. So, for starters, we're going to talk about the leap motion. What is a leap motion, you might ask? A leap motion is basically a depth sensor similar to the Cadet, but specifically made for fingers and hands. It does not track arms at all. Now, the leap motion, in case you do not own one, it costs around $89 to $100. But if you don't have the money for that type, you don't have $8, you can get some used leap motion or hand-me-downs from like eBay or something, which might cost like $50. You might want to Google that. I don't really know where to get those hand-me-down leap motions because I already own a leap motion myself, but you might want to check those out. But the reason why the leap motion would sometimes cost $100 is due to your location and shipment. Because the leap motion itself costs $89 by itself, but because of shipping, it can cost much higher. For instance, according to where I live, I do have to purchase the leap motion for $90 rather than the $89, which is not bad. It's fine. It was just $1 basically, but some people might have it where it's $20 shipment. But I will send a link to the the shop where you can purchase the leap motions. Now, how do you get your leap motion to be detected on VSeeFace? Because there are some people that would download VSeeFace and get the leap motion. They will plug in their leap motion into VSeeFace and it doesn't work at all. Well, the reason why for that is probably because you did not download the SDK. Because when you do get your delivery, you get the leap motion box. Inside will tell you how to activate the leap motion, which you will download the SDK. It has the website on the little paper inside. I think it was a paper. I do not remember. I think it was that transparent paper. I do not remember. But you would go to the website on that little thing, and you would download the SDK on the website. Now, let's say you did not do that and you accidentally threw away the box. Well, don't you worry, because I will have links to the SDK and all the other resources in the description below, where you can be able to click the links and you can go ahead and download the SDK in case you accidentally threw away the box. Don't you worry, I got your back. So once you download the SDK, now do keep in mind, this tutorial is mainly for Windows when it comes to leap motion. I'm not sure about leap motion with Linux or Mac. You might have to research that on your own, because I do not know anything about those computers. This is Windows I'm using. But yeah, so once you have your SDK installed, you can plug in your leap motion. Now, you're going to take a look at your little depth sensor, and you're gonna have like red indicators on the top black part of the leap motion, and a green light. Now, in order to get the leap motion, you're able to start tracking. You just put your hands right above the leap motion, and there you go. Very cool stuff. Now, by default, you might actually have a really weird setup. So it might look something like I'm gonna give like approximate of how it might look like. It might look something like this, with your leap motion. And this is probably gonna be what's happening. Some people did ask me, how do you get this fixed? Because this does not look natural at all. This is very weird. Don't you worry, because VSeeFace has the settings, which you saw me mess with a little bit. It has these leap motion settings right here, and these are very useful when adjusting your leap motion when it comes to your character's hands. So let's get started with explaining about what each of the settings do. So, of course, I will note one thing. If your hand is away from the leap motion, it will lose tracking. So do keep that in mind if you're streaming, to always, you know, keep an eye out for your hands. Also, do keep in mind also that the leap motion does use a lot more CPU due to tracking. So if you do have a potato computer, you might want to be careful when playing video games, because it does use a lot more CPU, which might lead to your game crashing or VSeeFace crashing. I can't really give you an approximate percentage because it really depends on your CPU, whether it's old or very brand new. But, so let's get started with doing this though. So for smoothing, it's basically how, kind of like how fast your hand moves, how smooth it moves. So I could put it very low, and it kind of gives like a raw, the raw tracking, which it's much faster, but it can be quite jittery, so you might want to increase it up. But if you increase it too much, your hand's gonna freeze like this, and this is not what we want. So you might want to put it mid-range, you might want to put a little bit of smoothness on it, you might want to have it a little fast. It really depends on what you're looking for. Now for the positioning, this is what you're looking for if you want to fix your hands because of the way they're placed. And also, I will also keep in mind also, sometimes if you're moving your hands around. Now, for the record, I have my leap motion on my table, so it is bound to have a lot of, you know, messed up, you know, tracking, like cross arms. If by any chance you ever deal with the cross arms where your hands are like this, but your character's like this, you might want to remove your hands from the leap motion and then put your hands. So in order to correctly place your hands in the correct, you know, you want it lower, or you just want it to look natural in your eyes, that's where the position settings will come in. You can move your leap motion left to right, you can move it the height up and down, which is very useful. So you might want to put it down, but like I said, it's up to what you're looking for when it comes to the leap motion. You can move it forward and back. If you want, like, it depends on what you're looking for, but you can see now my hands are a bit more natural, right here. So this is very cool. Now the transition time. There is 2 transition times, here. Now one of them is for up, and one of them is for down. So when it comes for up, so I can put my hands down. And if I were to decrease it, it just pops, it just kind of like pops in place when my hand goes on top of the leap motion. But if I were to increase it, it kind of just, whoops, hold on, it kind of gives like a gradual, it kind of gives like a gradual, like, it's really hard because of the tracking of the leap motion. But when you put your hands up, it's going to be a lot more smoother or slower. It really depends on, really depends on how much the slider is put. Here is going to be slower, here it's going to be faster, basically. Same thing goes to here, but it's for down. So I might want to put this here, and for down, it does, you can see it kind of like does a smooth, like, you know, it just smoothly goes down when it loses tracking. If you increase it, it'll do that. If you decrease it, it's going to just snap in place. You might want to add a little bit if you want to make it very natural. It does take a bit of tweaking depending on, you know, how your setup is. Because you can have really natural, like, arms down, but it really depends on how you set up. Because leap motion, fun fact, leap motion is actually quite sensitive to light. So So if you have too much lights, it can actually act up very badly. If you do have very little light, it might actually work, but it could be buggy, I guess. You might want to have just a little bit of lighting, which can also mess up with the face tracking, so you might want to try and balance that. It's a lot of trial and error when it comes to taking care of that, and you want very accurate results. Now, the detection range. Detection range is basically how far are your hands going to move before it loses tracking or it gets messed up. So, if I were to increase it, it kind of gives like more range. Hold up. You're gonna see a lot of buggy movements with the hands because this is desk. I don't have a chest mount for the leap motion. Now the chest mount is actually a lot more accurate because it can see your hands a lot better. Although you do have to purchase a clip mount or a leap motion mount. One is for there is one for $15. There's another one you can actually 3D print, but if you don't have a 3D printer, you might have to purchase one. But if you don't have the money, there are some DIY methods that you could do with the leap motion. So for example, I actually did a test myself where I use a hair tie and a hair clip, and I put on my shirt like the leap motion clip, and it actually worked pretty well. But the angle of the leap motion was not correct, so it's not really the best method, but it still works regardless. You just kind of have to it really depends. You want to spend money? Do you want to 3D print it, or do you want to try DIY method if you can't do either of those? But it's really up to you. Alright, so if the detection range, you can increase it. It does go bigger, but at the same time your wrist can be a bit more glitchier. So you might want to decrease it. If you decrease it a lot, you kind of get less range. As you can see, my hands are actually freaking out a little bit. But as you can see, they have less of a range going on before they lose tracking. So you might want to balance it. I wouldn't recommend put it very low or very high. Just somewhere in the middle, I guess. But it's up to what you're looking for in your setup, because your setup might actually do very well at bigger ranges. So yeah. Now for scaling. Scaling is best if you have a very gigantic model. So if your hands are squeezed up like this, or they're too far apart, the scaling is another way to kind of correct the hand movement. So if you have a very big model, you can put it all the way up here, but if your model is very small, you might want to put the scale lower, but I would put mine right here because my model isn't too big or too small. Now for rotations, I don't really use rotations a lot, but in case if you want some rotation in your hands, you can use it. I don't really use it. Maybe if you want a specific arm placement, be my guest. I don't really use it myself, but it's up to what you want. You might actually like this. It really depends on your model and what you're looking for. Now, and I already explained the transition time. So hands down delay is another way. It's basically kind of similar to the transition time, but it's like the timing of it. So if I were to increase the amount, as you can see, my hand would just stay in place and then go down after 2 seconds. But if I were to put it all the way down, it kind of gives a much more smoother, as you can see, it just gives a much more smoother, hand down, because it's kind of because it's 0 seconds. It doesn't have to stop in place. It just goes down. Now, it might look very smooth. It might look like the best type of setting, but there might be times where you're streaming and you want your hands to stay up. And let's say you accidentally move your hand out of place, but you want to keep your hands, up. You might want to increase the down delay higher, so that way if you are streaming and with the leap motion and you want to keep your hands up and you gotta quickly get something, you might want to have the hands down delay higher, so I could just reach down, get a water bottle, and then put my hands back up like that. And that'd be very useful. So that could be, I guess that could be kind of like something with the hands down delay if you want to do something like that. But that's really how I would use it personally. It depends on what you want to do, but that's pretty much my explanation of the leap motion settings. Now, the hotkey part, it's basically just going to disable the leap motion. Now, you can also disable the leap motion over here with the track leap motion. Just click a button and your hands will just go down. That's basically the equivalence of the, it's the equivalence of this button here, but just hotkey based. So if you want to stop using your leap motion during the stream, you might want to set up your own hotkey and then just use it. But do keep in mind also, if the leap motion is plugged in, it's still going to use a lot of CPU. So be very considerate about your CPU when using the leap motion, because it does use a lot of CPU power. But I will enable it back, and we can have our hands like this. Alright, so positioning. This is very important, because the settings, I explained them, but at the same time though, it really depends on how your leap motion is placed. So right now, mine is flat on the desk, but of course, there are some people that have a chest mount, or they would have the leap motion set up on a VR headset, because leap motion does work with VR headsets, kind of like the Oculus Rift, for example, and the Vive headset. It does actually work with those headsets, and it's very good for getting finger tracking, because those headsets do not have finger tracking at all. Oculus Quest, like that type of headset, or the Valve Index, they do have finger tracking, but that's far away from VSeeFace though. We're getting off topic. But you can have your leap motion on a VR headset. But yeah, so if you want, depending on where your leap motion is set up, you might want to have it on the chest. But do keep in mind, yes, it's going to look something like this if it's placed incorrectly. But you also do have to adjust the settings too. Like, you might want to put the height a lot lower for chest. But like I said, you also got to worry about the positioning of the leap motion if you want it to work better. And then the HMD, head mount display, which is the VR headset. But yeah, it really depends on where your leap motion is placed. You click on, the placement of it, and then you adjust your settings accordingly. Mess around, tweak with it, all that stuff. Now, hand swap mode. It's similar to the option that I explained in the last video, where if you have the mirror rotation, you can have it where your head is opposite from where you're tilting, or you want it to kind of like be a mirror of your movement. It's the same thing for hands, where your left hand can control the character's left hand, and the right hand can control the character's right hand, or it could just be mirrored, where left controls your character's right hand, and your right hand controls the character's left hand. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the leap motion settings in detail. Hopefully that helps you with the leap motion setup. If you do have any other issues, like your leap motion's not connecting at all, like for example, your leap motion has the red lights and the green lights on, but the leap motion's still not being tracked, you might want to ask Ultraleap about that, because that is their device, and there's times where the leap motion might actually break during delivery, so you might want to contact them and ask them about that. But if you want, you could ask Emiliana, the creator of VSeeFace, and maybe get some advice on the leap motion when it comes to that case, or you can ask me. I'll try my best to help you out, and as best as I can, but I will probably best contact Ultraleap about that and see if you can get a replacement if it's actually is broken. Alright, now to the new settings in VSeeFace. So the new settings in VSeeFace are mainly in general settings. Now, what are the new settings? Well, for starters, we have wind in VSeeFace. Now, for this model, for this model here, I don't really have a lot of physics, because I actually have a hair bun, and also I don't really have much of a chest. Anyways, I could actually, I can change into a specific model that does have more physics. and I'll show you how the spring bones work. So, as you can see right here, here are my little wings. You are gonna be my test subjects. So you're gonna enable the spring bone wind. So now, as you can see, with me, you probably don't see the wind at all. That's because the option "No Wind Effect for Chest Spring Bones" has been enabled. Now, what does this option mean? It basically means that it's going to disable wind effect for any physics that are parented to the chest bone. And for my case, the wings are connected to my chest bone. So I would have to disable that. And as you can see, I have, wind effect. But how do you adjust the wind though? Well, we have to scroll all the way to the bottom, and we have the wind settings. The wind direction kind of like moves where the wind is going to be at. It is going to be quite tedious to adjust this because it does kind of have a bit of a delay. But the wind direction kind of like moves the wind around. The wind strength kind of like strains in like how much the wind is going to impact the physics. And as you can see, there's a lot of impact going on. Time factor is basically like if you want the wind to like stop and then go. So as you can see, my wings stop moving, but if you were to increase it, it kind of just basically the wings go back and then forward. I can't really describe it well, but as you can see with the wings, that's what time factor is doing. It's just adjusting the timing of the wings. So yeah, that's pretty much the winds in a nutshell. You can go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and disable it because I don't really need the wind that much, but it is very useful for those who want their hair to move and all that. Like I said, it can kind of be a bit tedious to mess with it, but once you tweak it enough, you will actually get pretty good results. Now, for the final part I want to talk about is the brand new setting called VMC Protocol. What the frick is a VMC Protocol, you might ask? Well, VMC Protocol is basically, otherwise stands for Virtual Motion Capture. It is a very popular program / add-on for Unity or Unreal. It basically allows you to have pretty much almost any tracking possible. VR tracking, bodysuit tracking, webcam tracking, hand tracking, all the tracking that you've ever thought of. That's what VMC does. It basically gives a much more easier setup when it comes to using all the crazy tracking. Why is this setting here? VSeeFace, this is where VSeeFace goes extreme. Like, really extreme. Because at this point, VSeeFace, instead of just doing leap motion and webcam tracking, it could do a lot more now. It could have VR tracking with hands. It could have Vive trackers with the legs. It could have perception neuron body tracking. This allows you to have like pretty much any tracking you want. And like I said, full body with the VR works. Oh wait, not just VR, not just bodysuits, but webcam full body with 3D pose add-on. Now, I'm not gonna really go over that because I don't want to risk my identity to be revealed when using Unity, but I will send links in the description, tutorials on how to use webcam, the webcam full body feature with 3D pose, and another tutorial that kind of like gives a gist about iPhone tracking with VSeeFace, kind of like to give you an idea of how to use the VMC protocol. Of course, there are a lot more you can do with VMC Protocol, but you might have to experiment that on your own. But of course, Emiliana, on her website, she does have a lot more detail to how to use it, which is very useful. I, for one, deal with bugs. I actually tried the VMC Protocol myself, and I actually glitched out a lot. I cannot really help with that if I'm glitching the heck out of myself. hopefully, I am doing experiments with it as of now to try to kind of like, you know, learn more about it and see what's the possibilities are with it. So check the videos in the description, they'll gladly help you out. Talk to Emiliana if you're looking for a specific mocap solution, like bodysuits or a specific device, like the Connect, for example. Well, there is actually, I'll send a link about how to get the Connect working on VSeeFace. I'm going to try my best to get a lot of the resources for the VMC protocol in the description, because I can't really show in the video, but there are other people who have explained how to get it working, which is very, very nice. So hopefully if you guys have the time, you can gladly test it out, ask people around. I sadly cannot explain this though, but I could kind of like give you a general idea of how it works. I just can't really like show you specifically. So enough of my rambling, let's get started. So send data. Send data is basically an option which allows you to basically send VSeeFace's movement. So you see how my character is moving. You can have this in Unity and Unreal, and you can literally make a custom setup with it. So if you're able to get this right, sadly I could not get this working. I actually glitch a lot more, so I cannot really. I'm still testing out some stuff, but hopefully I do come up with a solution on it. But right now I'm dealing with a lot of bugs on this. Other people are doing fine. It's just me personally with my computer, it's acting up. But with this, you're going to use it to send your little VSeeFace movement to Unity, Unreal, or to another program that has the support for the IP and the port number. Now, of course, T-pose for calibration. Usually this is good for calibrating and stuff. And also, if you just want to have like the, if you want to send just the VSeeFace, you know, facial tracking, this is also like another way. I did this. I actually tested this out with the actual VMC program, and I was able to get the facial tracking to work properly with this. Now receiver. This is basically going to disable your tracking. The reason why it's going to disable your tracking is because it's going to allow another program to send data. So basically, if you have like perception neuron and you want to put it to VSeeFace, you will have to enable this option and, you know, connect it with the port number here, and that way it can start tracking away. But what if you want, like, you know, perception neuron body tracking or VR tracking on your character? Well, but you also want the VSeeFace facial tracking on it. Well, you're going to click on apply VSeeFace tracking, and you're going to enable apply expressions. It's going to track your face. But in case you want to have, like, let's say you want to have VR plus perception neuron plus VSeeFace tracking plus leap motion. Well, VSeeFace supports the webcam and the leap motion, but you want for some reason you want the perception neuron and VR, I guess. That's where the secondary protocol comes in, where you can basically add another receiver, like VR tracking with legs and the perception neuron's hands, for example. Something like that. It allows, like, you know, it allows more combination to it. And it's really awesome, really awesome. But that's pretty much what's the VMC protocol is in a nutshell. Like I said, I can't really show it because it's quite a tedious process, depending on what you're doing. If it's, you know, depending on your tracking device you are trying to get it for, and the program you're using. But really, in a nutshell, all you have to do is use the port number, make sure they're both the same, and it should start, you know, working and all that. I will send, like I said, I will send videos that could kind of like show you. They'll show you exactly how it exactly looks like when it comes to Unity or the iPhone tracking and all that. But that's pretty much kind of like an explanation to how this would work. This is mainly if you want that custom tracking going on. But if you are fine with VSeeFace alone, that VSeeFace already provides everything for you. You don't have to worry about it, but it is very useful if you do have some other tracking devices laying around in your home and you want to use them as a VTuber, which is really awesome for more body movements, more interaction, all that cool stuff. Now, another feature that's on VSeeFace also is the Use Void style shade coloring. What is that option? Well, lately there's been an issue. So ever since VSeeFace changed their color space from gamma to linear, and the thing is to note, linear is a type of color space in Unity that actually gives much more accurate lighting. And gamma is kind of like, it emphasizes, brightness, which doesn't look really accurate. So VSeeFace changed from gamma to linear, which can actually lead to a bit of an issue, because Vroid, for those who use Vroid, they use gamma color space, not linear. And because the color spaces are quite different, it can actually lead to shading issues. So basically, sometimes with your Vroid model, let's say for example you have hair and it's like, let's say a blue color, and apparently the shading comes out green or some weird shading that does not look like your Vroid model. Well, the Use Void style shade color will basically help correct the shading so it looks more like the Vroid color. Now, for me, I don't really have a Vroid model. I don't really have that Vroid shading going on, so I'm perfectly fine with that. And I'm using the newest version of UniVRM, so my shading is fine. But yeah. And yeah, do keep in mind also, most of the VRM programs do use different versions of Mtune, which can cause some weirdness when it comes to shading. So do keep in mind about that when using different VRM programs in general. But another thing I also want to mention also, this was, I actually helped Emiliana out on this, but basically there's a new option which is not visible here, but it is in the program. It's called Oculus, it's the Oculus Lip Sync. What the heck is that? Well, you see how I'm talking right now and you see how my lips are moving? The one on the VSeeFace, not the tiny character, not the tiny character over there. But you see how my lips, they're talking like this? Well, they're actually controlled by the OVR Lip Sync add-on. And basically, you see how it uses the AEIOU keys? I don't know if some of you guys might know. If you guys have used UniVRM before, you might get an idea of how the lip syncs are used. But if you just use Vroid and you export it and just use it, you probably might not understand this. But I'll try my best to explain it. But basically, you use UniVRM to make your VRM models. So for this OVR lip sync, basically it allows you to have extended lip sync. So if you want a much more accurate, lip movement, you can add the OVR lip sync. Now I will send a link in the description below to show you how they look like, because it might be quite confusing because my model does not have the extended lip syncs. But it does. But that is an update that came up in VSeeFace. And basically it just kind of gives a much more accurate, and with enough tweaking, it does give a much more smoother look. But the thing is, I have to note about, you have to actually edit the model. If you want that extended lip sync, you will probably have to use Blender to add those extra lip sync, the extra lip keys. If by any chance you use cats for the lip sync, there is actually no use in using cats to make your blend shapes, because really, the way cats make their OVR lip sync and how VSeeFace uses it are pretty equivalent. So really, if you're planning on using cats to make the OVR lip syncs, don't use it. They're literally the same thing, and it's gonna be a waste of time for you. But if you want to have custom lip sync and you want to, have much more movement, much more natural movement, you might have to use Blender, use the website that I'll link below, and check out how you're going to make the lip syncs and all that cool stuff. And yes, you will have to learn about blend shapes. I mean, you can make your own custom setup using UniVRM and mixing some blend shapes around, but really, I would most likely use, I would best use this option if you're gonna actually like go ahead and modify and create more blend shapes that are unique rather than based off of pre-made blend shapes, because then that's just gonna be a waste of time and they're gonna look the same, because VSeeFace already does that. But yeah, I cannot really show you that because it is quite a very tedious process, and yes, you do have to learn a bit of Blender in order to do that, or Maya. Depending on the program you're using, you do have to learn some 3D knowledge in order to get that sort of thing. But VSeeFace does a very good job at the lip sync overall with the vowel keys, so no need to worry about that, but that is something to note about if you want to have a much more custom setup with the facials. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the new features. There are a lot more bug fixes that happen, which is really awesome. And I'm actually really happy about how VSeeFace is. It's really amazing, and there's actually going to be a lot more features going on in VSeeFace. So I'm gonna kind of like give you like an idea. So basically, VSeeFace is still beta. It's a beta program. There is going to be a lot more features coming up in VSeeFace, and do keep in mind there is going to be a lot of updates, new features, all the crazy stuff. So do keep in mind about that. That some of the tutorials might be outdated pretty quickly because of the new features coming up, since the program is beta. Hopefully, maybe next year might no longer be beta, but it does take a long time. It does take a long time to get those features in. So do give Emiliana some time. Take care of those features and all of that stuff. She honestly did a very amazing job for the program still being in beta, and it's still growing, and it's really amazing. It's really amazing how VSeeFace has grown. Now, some features I could probably mention about, but I can't really confirm or deny, because it's really Emiliana who will actually do the full confirming. But this is according to the Deets Discord server about these information on the future VSeeFace features. So, webcam hand tracking. That is something that Emiliana is planning on doing. I'm not sure how it's going on that, but it is something being planned. So, let's say you don't like the leap motion, or you cannot afford a leap motion at all. Well, webcam tracking is, I can't really say it is. It probably will come to VSeeFace. It's not going to be as accurate as the leap motion, because it's not going to have finger tracking. It'll be kind of similar to Wakaru's hand tracking and VMagic Mirror's hand tracking, with no fingers, but you can have your hands being tracked. So that's something that might come to VSeeFace, but we will have to wait to see how that goes. Something to keep in mind about something in VSeeFace is the crazy custom stuff. So we understand we got all that custom tracking going on with VMC Protocol. But what about the setup in VSeeFace? Like, let's say the VMC Protocol does not work for you, like in my case. How the heck are we going to have, crazy custom setups? Well, there's actually going to be a package coming up for VSeeFace. It's not here yet, but it is coming up very soon. It is called the Asset Bundle. The Asset Bundle is a type of package coming to VSeeFace, I don't know when. It's basically going to allow custom shaders, custom particle effects, custom animations, and a lot more custom crazy stuff that people always want in VSeeFace. And yes, the Asset Bundle is only in VSeeFace. It is not for any other program. So, the Asset Bundle, if you really want, like, custom stuff, so, like, the VR chat avatars, they have the crazy custom shaders, crazy particle effects, and the custom drivers, and the animations and all that. With the Asset Bundle, it'll make it possible. I'm not sure how extreme or if there's any limits on it, because it is in the works right now, so we will have to wait until it gets released. But that is something to keep in mind. Do keep in mind of if you want that type of custom setup in VSeeFace specifically. So we'll have to wait to see. if you want for more information, you can ask Dee about it or Emiliana, but I can't really give much information because I don't know much about it because it's in the works. There's also going to be a lot more coming to VSeeFace. Like, there's going to be a lot more effects coming to VSeeFace. There's going to be, like, the option of, you know, text. So you know how we have the sliders here and we don't know what the number values are? There's most likely going to be a box where it indicates what the number is coming soon. There might be, I don't know about the wink, because a lot of people kept asking about the wink tracking and all that. Emiliana does have some plans about the wink tracking. I don't really know what her plans are with it, but I would probably ask her about it. I think she does have some solutions on it, but they are quite tedious to do, so I can't really... I would leave it up to her about that. I cannot really say much on that. But there are going to be more accurate winking coming up and all that. But there's going to be a lot more updates, basically. Like those. Webcam tracking, you know, custom shading, and custom animations. And a lot more stuff, basically. VSeeFace is still pretty new. It hasn't even been a year yet. Because... I'm not even kidding. VSeeFace has not been here for a year, and it came this far. It's really amazing. But yeah, hopefully we can see those features come up probably in 2021. I don't know. Like I said, I cannot really confirm this. I cannot confirm or deny this. These are things based off of the Discord server that I read and stuff that I asked Emiliana about. So if you want more information about upcoming features, you might want to ask her about that, but there are some things that are planned, not confirmed. There's a lot of stuff, basically, so I can't really say much on it. But do keep in mind that, yes, there's going to be a lot more features in VSeeFace, and they're going to be really amazing, and it's just going to be the best thing ever. That's all I have to say. It's going to be the best thing ever. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this tutorial. I don't really have much because there is a lot more coming to VSeeFace, and right now there's a bit of bug fixing going on with VSeeFace, but there are going to be some new features coming up pretty soon, probably in December, probably 2021. I don't know. Don't ask me. It would be best to ask Emiliana about that because she's the creator. She's the one behind all the coding and all that. You could also ask Dee too, because Dee also knows about VSeeFace as well. So yeah, I really hope this tutorial helps you with leap motion, understanding the new settings in a way, and also understanding there are some features coming up with VSeeFace, and all that cool stuff. So yeah, I don't have much else to say. If you do like my content, it'd be very nice if you subscribe, you know, hit the subscribe button, the like button. It's really well appreciated because it can help get my channel, you know, out there a lot more. So that way I can reach out to a lot more people and I can help more people. It's very appreciated. And, you know, share the video if anyone's having issues with leap motion. If by any chance you have issues with, you know, other VSeeFace options, you can check out my previous video on VSeeFace and check it out, see if the video can help. But if there's any other issues that you're dealing with and my videos do not help you, there are some other VSeeFace tutorials out there that you can check out, or you can go to Deet's Discord server, which is in the link in the description, and you can go there and you can ask Emiliana, hey, I have a bug going on, the virtual cam doesn't work, transparency's broken, or something like that, and she'll gladly help. She will try her best to help fix the issue that you're encountering. And the more bugs that are reported, the better VSeeFace gets for you and everybody else. So do keep that in mind. But that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. Do support VSeeFace. For more detailed information, please go to the blue highlighted text above, which gives you more information about how VSeeFace works and all that, which is very useful, and also has some troubleshooting tips, which is very useful if you're dealing with any bugs. And that's pretty much it. Suggest me any videos you want me to make. I'm not gonna make too many tutorials. I might make another tutorial in the future. I will be honest with that. I might make another tutorial in the future, but it won't be anytime soon. It might be a while for that. But do give me suggestions or any videos you want to see from me. And with that being said, I'm Cadet Second Lieutenant of Valle, signing off.